Westworld Season 3 Episode 3 is just around the corner, and a promo trailer for the episode was released a couple of days ago. We got a primary focus on Dolores, Caleb, and the host that seems to be operating, Charlotte Hale. I'm going to be diving into everything we saw in the trailer, breaking it down and giving you my thoughts and predictions on what we could be seeing. It looks like the episode, which is titled The Absence of Field, will be important in setting up many mysteries for the developing storyline. If you want to see my episode reviews for Westworld Season 3, along with other breakdowns and theory videos coming this season, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoy this video, give it a like rating. Without further ado, let's get into my breakdown of the Westworld Season 3 Episode 3 trailer. To start off with, we will be exploring the relationship between Dolores and Caleb. Obviously in episode 1 we got a lot of focus on Caleb's background. We learn that the construction worker and part-time criminal feels a lot of mistrust towards his occupied species, even going as far to put himself through an artificial therapy program that by the end of the episode he abandons. Caleb's existence, despite being a human, is very similar to that of Dolores. He lives in loops, questions the nature of his reality, and definitely does not have a lot of kindness in his heart for the people around him. People who have no doubt been analysed by Rehoboam's deterministic abilities to lead a better life. But now he finds himself in contact with Dolores, and I think we are going to be seeing the change in Caleb's life that he never imagined, feeling something that is real. As Dolores said in the Season 2 finale, that is real is irreplaceable. But of course in some regards she changed her mind and is now seeing a human who she relates to. This will make things even more complicated. I did say in my predictions video that I think we'd see into the complications between both species. To put it more simply, the best way to explain this is through the Man in Black and his quote to Dolores in Season 2, where he says, "Our acquaintances are aligned right up until they're not." In particular, what I'm bringing up again is the idea of a civil war, and this is something that doesn't just relate to today, but how the show has developed as a whole. Although we will see the building partnership between Caleb and Dolores, they will also be faced with conflicts on their own sides. Maeve being the host that seems to confront Dolores later on in the season, which we got a lot of development for in episode 2, and then Insight and the Rehoboam side of humanity, which Caleb, in being a human, wants to exploit. Essentially, we are getting the civil conflict on both sides of the hosts and the humans. This isn't a case of one side versus another, but rather many sides that each have to deal with themselves. If Dolores is going to take down Serac, she needs to see more deeply into the effects that he creates for someone like Caleb, and in this episode we seem to be getting that. The promo video sees Dolores tell Caleb the way they built their world, it won't take much to bring it all crashing down. When Caleb asks her what she plans to do, her answer is a predictable one: to start a revolution. It seems like Dolores is constructing a plan to break Insight down from the inside and exploit this to the people who are trapped within the system, one of them being Caleb, and once he understands the loop that he's been trapped in, he'll want to exploit this to others. That's why I think in the main trailer for Season 3 we see riots in the city streets, and the revolution that Dolores is talking about may refer to this, or at least in some capacity. Serac says at the end of episode 2 that the real world functions in a near perfect harmony because of such a system that was put in place. What Dolores sees wrong in this is the same as what she saw wrong about Westworld, holding people down against their free will. This would definitely fit the idea of a revolution that Dolores wants to usher in. Moving on to Charlotte Hale, who looks to be the main focus of this episode. Now, if you've seen my extended video I did a few weeks ago on who this could be, you'll know that I broke down why I think it's Peter Abernathy, and I'm sticking with this prediction. I think we are seeing, and in particular what we gather from this new trailer for episode 3, is someone Dolores knows and that she cares for. The three options that immediately come to mind based on this are Teddy, Peter Abernathy, or Dolores herself. In terms of Teddy, I've explained this before, but his story very much ended in season 2. The writers have clarified this themselves, and Dolores was happy with changing her mind in letting him live out in the sublime. There's no reason for her to bring him out of it because it would defeat the purpose of her choices and current motivations. If it's Dolores herself, that would make more sense because she would understand her own motives and use this to her advantage when it comes to replacing people as hosts. But again, this would go against her change in choice at the end of season 2, with letting the hosts make their own decisions. But with Abernathy, there's a unique case of someone who's been used by Delos and trapped in his own memories. She also cares about him and she trusts him, as well as having access to the data encryption that could be handy for Dolores this season. We have already seen some of this take place. As we saw in episode 1, she already built a version of the character Martin Connells, who I actually think is Angela or Clementine. I did the video on Hale talking about this a few weeks ago, so I definitely recommend checking that out if you want to know why I'm coming at the Hale storyline with this perspective. But in the trailer for the episode, we get these character traits shown to us, and it looks like in certain aspects this is happening before the events of episode 1, as we see Dolores telling Hale who she has to be. We also see the host caring for Hale's real son, being a parent figure and fitting in with the role she has to play. In episode 1, she goes to a Delos board meeting, and it looks like we're seeing more of that as well. My theory is that she's switching between the host and the data of Hale, as in the first episode she's very recognisable as Hale and doesn't really convey anything that suggests she's pretending to be her. This goes in hand with my theory about the guest data encryption in Abernathy's Pearl. I think overall we will start to see what Dolores is really using Hale for and how this fits in with her bigger plan. It definitely looks like it will be a centred episode around the 3 characters of Dolores, Caleb and Hale, and it would be a perfect opportunity to set the mystery and paths of these characters in line. So I think the absence of Field is going to be a crucial episode, one that will give us a greater look at some of the answers we may be getting come the finale of this season. The synopsis for the episode reads, "Some do not like what they see in the mirror, but shouldn't blame the mirror." This is obviously referring to Hale and the host controlling her, and I think it leans well into my theory on it being Abernathy, but we'll have to see. I think what we are getting in this episode is all the characters having to accept something that they are not used to accepting. Hale, or the host that's operating her, has to accept that this is the position she's in and that she will have to help Dolores, along with Dolores, who will learn to see into humanity a bit deeper through Caleb. She'll potentially see the more sympathetic and lighter side of humanity. This will be an important episode in the fact that we should be getting deep character motivation for the direction the characters could be moving towards. It's an episode that looks to be all about self-reflection and questioning your inner voice, and that is what Westworld has done so great in the past, but we will soon find out this Sunday. Let me know if you picked out anything from the trailer that I didn't, as well as your predictions for episode 3. For reviews and recaps of all the upcoming episodes of Westworld Season 3, along with theories and breakdowns surrounding this season, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like rating. I will be covering episode 3 along with a breakdown of the trailer for episode 4 next week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.